A lot of people today say that earning your magic school diploma isn't worth it, but these new spells from Strixhaven say otherwise. In all seriousness, secondary education isn't for everyone. After all, I know I'm not using my bachelor's degree. But I say this because many people have taken issue with these spells existing in the core of 5e. Some DMs may choose to only have these spells available when playing through a curriculum of chaos and using the backgrounds contained within. I think that's a perfectly viable approach, and I wouldn't fault anyone for doing so. After all, each spell in this video corresponds to one of the 5 colleges at Strixhaven University, and presumably are only taught at the prestigious academy. However, I plan to let my players take these spells as normal, since I feel they just add to the variety and flavor of 5e. That said, let's begin our lesson with Borrowed Knowledge, a 2nd level divination spell from Lorehold College for Bard, Cleric, Warlock, and Wizard that allows you to gain a proficiency in a single skill for an hour as an action by drawing on knowledge from spirits of the past. The spell doesn't require concentration, but you can only have this added proficiency in one skill at a time, as the spell will end early if you cast it again. You also can't use it on a skill you already have proficiency in. While the spell has some interesting use cases, it can be fairly costly, both in terms of a 2nd level spell slot as well as a book worth at least 25 gold pieces required as material for the casting. Still, utilizing this in a situation where you know you may need a boost in a certain skill for a prolonged period of time could make it worthwhile, such as a trek through enchanted woods that might necessitate proficiency in nature checks to keep you out of trouble. Next, we'll study up on Kinetic Jaunt, a 2nd level transmutation spell from Prismari College for Artificer, Bard, Sorcerer, and Wizard that grants us a series of movement-based buffs for a minute as a bonus action. As long as you maintain concentration, the spell increases your walking speed by 10 feet, keeps you from provoking opportunity attacks, and allows you to move through the space of another creature without it becoming difficult terrain for you. However, if you end your turn in another creature's space, you'll be pushed back into the last unoccupied space that you traversed, taking 1d8 force damage in the process. As flavorful as it is to dance across the battlefield in such a way that enemies would be unable to hit you as you move, I really can't see myself taking something like this at 2nd level, when we have something as viable as a Chardalon Stride from Fizban's Treasury of Dragons that gives us more movement, also doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, does damage, and scales pretty nicely. Check this video out if you're interested in this alternative for just 1 spell level higher. Continuing on, we have Vortex Warp, a 2nd level conjuration spell from Quandrix College for Artificer, Sorcerer, and Wizard. As an action, this spell magically twists the space around another creature you can see within 90 feet, resulting in the target being teleported to an unoccupied space that you can see that is also within range if they fail a Constitution saving throw. The space must be on a surface or in a liquid that can support the target innately, and upcasting the spell will also gain an extra 30 feet of range for each level above 2nd. This spell has a ton of utility outside of what one may consider when first looking at it. For one, yes, you can use this spell on your enemies to move them into disadvantaged positions. You can't drop them off of a cliff, but you can put them on the edge so someone else can push them off, or you could simply move them 90 feet away from your group in an effort to bypass a tough battle. But what I like even more is that you could use this on your allies to get them into otherwise tough to reach locations, as they can choose to fail the Constitution saving throw. You could even teleport an ally out of a jail cell without alerting the enemy of your presence, so long as you have a good vantage point. Now we'll take a trip to Witherbloom College for the aptly named Wither and Bloom, a 2nd level necromancy spell for Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. Invoking both death and life as an action, this spell targets a 10-foot radius sphere within 60 feet of you and deals 2d6 necrotic damage to each creature of your choice within that area against a Constitution saving throw for half damage. But in addition to this effect, you may choose a single creature within that area to spend and roll one of its unspent hit dice to regain hit points equal to the roll plus your spellcasting ability modifier. While the damage we're dealing with this spell isn't quite on par with other spells of its level, the added healing ability is what really gives this thing some mileage. It's obviously made to help support your allies within melee range of your enemies, and I'd say it's pretty good at that. And while it does scale pretty decently with 1d6 extra damage and an extra hit dice for each level above 2nd, our allies will eventually run out of hit dice to spend, so we're not exactly exactly tapping into a limitless resource here. I can't see myself spamming this over and over, but using it every once in a while during a tough fight could come in clutch. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, you're probably wondering why I've waited until now to mention the Silver Quill College spell, Silvery Barbs. Well, that is because I've saved that one for a video all its own. Trust me, it deserves it. But if you've enjoyed the spells we've covered so far, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And until next time, go out there and make some chaos.